We will be recording our session so that students that aren't able to jump on today will be able to view our panel today. Deepak, thank you so much for your assistance. And I wanted to welcome our panelists this morning. And I also see Raphael was able to join us. Hi, Raphael. So if we could please start with the intro. Tessa, would you please go ahead?
Sure. My name is Tessa Schreiner. I am the Sustainability Manager for the City of Aspen, Colorado, and I graduated from Patel in 2014 with a concentration in sustainable tourism.
Thank you. Akshita?
Hi, everyone. I am Akshita, and my concentration is in water sustainability. I'm going to complete next semester, and that's it.
All right, Marco.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marko Bajic, and I just graduated a week ago from climate mitigation and adaptation class. And I'm a general manager at Serbian Royal Palace and top advisor on a Crown Council matter of Serbian Royal Prince. So that's just shortly about me, and I'm doing a big project that was part of my ACE project, which is named Serbian Royal Court Sustainability Project.
Thank you, Marco. Madeline, you're next.
I'm Madeline. I also graduated last week, so class of 2022, and my focus was on food security and sustainability, and I also got the graduate certificate in climate mitigation.
Excellent. Congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you.
And we also have Raphael. Raphael is a current student at Patel College. Is that correct?
Hi everyone. Yes, Kelly. I'm a current student. I'm graduating next semester. My concentration is energy concentration, and I'm very happy to be here in this meeting.
Oh, thank you so much. So thank you to our panelists this morning. So I'd like to just kind of review the format of our panel. So initially we'll have a couple of questions for our panelists, and then I would like to open up to Q&A. So if our participants could hold their questions until our panelists are complete, we would love to spend some time answering any questions you may have. And I'm Kelly Gaskell. I'm the director for the Student Development and Alumni Relations Office, as well as a communications director for our college. So I'm happy that you all are joining us today. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of questions you may have for our distinguished panelists. So with that, let me start off our session by asking our panelists, Marco, if I can start with you. What attracted you initially to the Patel College?
Well, I live in St. Petersburg, and when I got positioned overseas, I really wanted to do this project desperately. Then I started Googling around what will be the best place for me to go and gain some knowledge about the subject that I didn't know much about. And that was I was very lucky to find Patel College, because I learned so much during my time at Patel College, and I also met so many people ready to help me to learn more and retrieve necessary information and equip me with all necessary tools that I can actually make some changes, at least on this level over here in Serbia. And I'm really amazed how Patel College is functioning. And from my position, I can tell you that everything that I needed to be successful, I got there, so it was a very good choice that I made by luck, but it was destiny, so yes.
Thank you, Marco. Tessa, what about you? I know that you're an alum of 2014, right? So it's been a few years, but what initially attracted you to the college?
Yeah, so after my undergrad, I took a break and moved abroad to teach English, trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do for my career. I studied international business in my undergrad and didn't know that I wanted to go into that in my my full-time job. And at the time, there weren't many schools that offered certainly an MA in sustainability, but even just a general master's in sustainability. And so was really excited to see Patel's what Patel offered and the concentrations they offered at the time that were, and I think they're even much more expanded now than they were in 2013, 2014 when I went to school. So it was, yeah, again, kind of by chance, like Marco said, that I found it, and yeah, I've had a great experience.
Thank you, Tessa. Madeline, would you like to also share your thoughts?
Yeah, so I actually did my undergrad at USF as well, and I took a tour of the Patel College when I was an undergrad, and that kind of got the gears going as to what I wanted to do after I graduated. I took a gap year, but then after looking through the different programs that Patel offered, I've always been interested in food and agriculture, and everyone's got to eat, so I decided to go and do the food sustainability, and I loved every minute of it.
Wonderful. And Akshita, do you have anything to add about what initially attracted you to the college?
So I did my interior designing before this. I had a master's in interior designing, and I was always interested in to use products which are more sustainable, to make sure the companies are using sustainable practices. So I got an opportunity to study further. So I chose. I was looking for sustainability and masters in that, and I found Patel College. That's how this attracted me to sustainability.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. And Raphael, would you have any comments as well?
Yes. So I'm an investor in the energy sector downstream, which I'm still in my country. And when I finished my Master of Science in Entrepreneurship at USF, I wanted to make a shift in my career. I saw the opportunity of making this global sustainability master degree with an energy concentration, and I was super excited with all the renewable energy sources and courses that you were offering, and that attracted my attention, and I said, okay, let's go for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, panelists. My next question for you is would you like to share which type of projects you were involved in, and or your ACE project, which is our academic capstone at the end of the program? Who would like to start?
I can if you want.
Okay, Marco.
All right. Since I came to school, I had a vision of my project that I've been working since on. That's in past 2 years. That's that Serbian Rural Core Sustainability Project. Why that? Because Serbia is not part of EU, European Union. They're desperately trying. I noticed that they're just copy-pasting the laws, but everything else on the ground is still far away from implementation of any of those laws. So I decided to use a rural compound, which is a huge property over here, and the influence of the Serbian rural family, to try to start switching things around. This is where Patel came very, very handy, where I get my knowledge and people to come and work with me on this project. And project has many layers, from implementation of sustainability of many levels, not only just implementation of renewable energy, clear water and stuff like that, but also student exchange between Patel and local university over here, working on a small project like TH has in his Roseband, that you can actually take home and start changing on the small grade. So many different projects. Sustainable tourism is one of the key ones, because it's Europe, people love to travel. COVID destroyed many things, so this is like a live thing over here. I was lucky that the Serbian government and the president recognized the needs for that. So he jumped in, gave us some funds, and, they want us to keep going. But pretty much that's the project that I've been working on, and how it looks like. My forecast is that I will continue working in next 5 to 10 years. We got United Nations involved because we used UN SDGs as a core of the project. So, like all the key global players are, glued to this. So we will see how it goes, as I said, because of the war in Ukraine and everything else, bunch of politics, ignorance, this and that. But it's a fight, but it's a very good fight, if you ask me, because we will make some changes. Because let's say during the winter time, Serbia and like Belgrade, its capital, is like in top 3 most polluted cities in the world. So they desperately needs help. So that'll be like short version of my project.
Thank you so much, Marco. Very interesting. Madeline, would you like to share a little bit about your projects?
Yeah. First, I'll start with the St. Pete Youth Farm, where I did a lot of volunteering, and with another group of students, we were able to build up a rainwater harvesting system for them. I was also part of a local nonprofit for my internship, where we worked with community gardens, and kind of just working to complete a lot of disconnects throughout the city. So we focus on transportation, food accessibility, and housing for homeless people. And then also with my ACE project, I did a study on regenerative agriculture in Tampa Bay, and kind of put together a conceptual framework for a transition to more sustainable agriculture versus the conventional agriculture. I think you're muted, Kelly.
Thank you so much. Tessa, would you like to talk a little bit about the projects you did at the college?
Sure thing. So I went on an internship and worked for a sustainable tourism company in Cairns, Australia. And while working with them, I was able to finish my capstone, and which was focusing on creating a sustainable tourism management plan for the region of Cairns. There's a lot of tourism with the Great Barrier Reef, with the Daintree Rainforest, and a lot of really sensitive environmental areas. And they didn't at the time have a comprehensive sustainable tourism management plan. And so had a chance to meet with the council there in the region, talk to them about the needs, and do a bit of inventory about what was already happening in the region, including the sustainable tourism work for the tour company that I worked for, who have since received a lot of regional awards for their work in innovation and sustainability. And yeah, that was my project.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to switch to another question for you. Akshita, since you've been at Patel College, what are some of the resources that you've taken advantage of while in the program?
A lot of research now that TH is here, Professor. Hello, Professor. Rosebud has been really helpful in terms of practical knowledge in using the different technologies it has offered. Like we saw a lot of, like for example, plastic. We saw the collection of plastic, shredding it, melting it, and then making a new product out of it. That was one of the project. Apart from that, in Earth Day was here, April 22nd, and we organized an event, celebrated together with the Globe Student Body Organization and our climate mitigation class, and it was a really successful event. Apart from that, I'm also part of Globe Student Body Organization and taking care of their communications on the Instagram. So reaching out to people and engaging with them. So maybe spreading awareness. So a lot of education and awareness spreading. So a lot of opportunities even while studying.
Okay, great. That sounds really like a lot of work going on in our field research for the college. And I just wanted to say hello and welcome Dr. T.H. Colhane.
Delighted to be with you and to see so many familiar faces. Always delighted by the events that you organized, Kelly. Good to see you, Marco and Akshita and Madeline and Raphael and Tessa. I know we just spent time together, Akshita, here at Rosebud, as you've mentioned, and Marco, I guess we'll be seeing you this summer. So the continuation aspect of this, I think, is one of the most exciting things about Patel College, that we really have formed an extended family that continues long after graduation. And so you've joined a tribe that what Joe Dorsey calls sustainabilitists. And he was over here last night, and we were watching The Man Who Fell to Earth, a science fiction movie about how the Earth has 30 years left before it gets too hot. And we looked at each other and we thought, this is not a joke. This is not a sci-fi. We're facing some unprecedented difficulties and challenges, but at the same time, we looked at each other and thought, we've got 600 alums spread out across the globe, and each of you is doing something in a key position where your calling, where you were called to serve, has put you. And now, by continuing through the alumni network, we articulate that until we formed a nice safety net, we hope, for all humanity and all non-humans as well, our brother and sister organisms. And when Akshita organized the Globe event, we had members of the Lakota Sioux Nation who spoke at the event and talked about our relatives, our human and non-human relatives who make the fabric of this weave. So it's great to see you in the weave, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Culhane. All right, so we're switching gears. Raphael, would you like to share about some of the interesting coursework that you've taken while at the college?
So I've been involved in different projects, and the first one that was really amazing was in the economics and finance class. I led a team that made the new solar projects for St. Pete Clearwater Airport. So we were in touch with the sustainability manager for the county, and it was really interesting because it was a different approach from my perspective, because we tried not only to make a project from a economics and finance perspective, but also from a sustainability perspective. And we were supposed to give one option, and we finally gave the county 3 different options. So that was one of the projects. And the other one that I finished in my renewable power portfolio class is a project for the EV sector, the new electric vehicles and the forecast. And we did I did with our team a good research and a forecast for the next 20 years, how it's going to the market is going to change.
Thank you so much. I did want to stress that at Patel College, there are a lot of opportunities to do field work and projects in which we collaborate specifically with the 7 surrounding counties in our area. So our students are able to work with sustainability managers for the counties. They brief their final report to the city commissioners or county commissioners, and along the way they're able to network with fellow colleagues in those particular counties. All of those, of course, led by their instructor, their faculty instructor for that particular course. So now I'd like to open up the floor to student questions that we would have. You can either raise your hand or make notes in the chat, and I'd be happy to entertain those. So anyone have a first question for the panel? Okay, we have Paul. Hi, Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Parul.
I'm sorry, that's Peru.
Delighted to be here. I wanted to. Yes, hi. It's a bit complicated. It's Parul. So my question is, in your experience of work, have you found that your work is more impactful in the government sector or the corporate sector? Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. How about Tessa? How do you feel about that,
Okay.
Tessa?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to take that. Patel, I just want to make sure that I understand your question. Are you asking if sustainability work is more impactful in the private sector, public sector, or what we learned in our master's more impactful? What's your specific question?
Well, if you've done a job in the corporate sector or in the government sector, or you've done internships, so all the experiences that you've had so far, which of these sectors, the private government sector, has been more impactful?
Yeah, sure. I can answer on behalf of the public sector because that's been my main part of my career, and I'll pass it off to someone else who can answer for more of the private sector. So I've worked in 2 local governments. The first was Leon County, Florida, where Tallahassee is, and the second has been the city of Aspen, where I currently am. And local government work and sustainability looks very different than the private sector in general, and just the outcomes, the budgeting, the stakeholder engagement process, and more of the local application, right? Our boundaries are very well defined for where our impact is and in the communities that we're trying to serve. And so although my concentration was in sustainable tourism, and I'm now not in sustainable tourism, but in local government, although there's quite a lot of tourism here in Aspen, what I learned, I think, at Patel in general of the kind of basic guiding principles and due process for how to take theory and yeah, kind of best practices from different parts around the world and then shape them into what's applicable for wherever you end up landing, right? So that looks really different when I was in Florida. That work looked very different than that work looks here in Colorado, just because they're very different government bodies and also in very different states and how they view climate change. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
And we also have Marco, who would have a perspective on his.
Yes, it does. So essentially, I come from a.
Sorry, I didn't hear you guys.
Marco, would you have a perspective as well?
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm deeply involved in work with the government, at least over here in Serbia, and a lot of bureaucratic issues and everything. My personal point is it's very hard to move them, but it's absolutely necessary for them to be moved, because if they are not moving into right direction, then you have a huge problem in corporate sector too. Because you know, like over here in Serbia is the case that they have great laws and everything, but absolutely no right implementation. And you really need to push very hard throughout the government ranks to make things happen. And in some countries like Serbia, that is extremely difficult, because if I want to make any changes, I need to go and talk to president and nobody else. He's only capable of moving things around, which makes extremely stressful on me and for the rest of my team. But on the other hand, I know if I play my cards right and if I'm well prepared and I give the right project and right arguments, and they said yes, the things will be moved into right direction. So from my experience, those two things are going hand to hand, sort of speaking, and you absolutely need both parts. If you will ask me which side I will prefer to work, I prefer royal family because I'm sort of above both of those people. So that's at least how I see it right now. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Do we have other student questions for the panel? I can see Vincent. Vincent, do you have any questions? Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Vincent. You guys can call me Vince. My interests include like biomimicry and urban planning, but I'm like confused on whether I should pursue the concentration of sustainable energy or sustainable transportation.
Okay, Raphael, would you like to explain a little bit about energy and what you would study versus, well, I can speak a little bit to transportation, but.
Yeah. From an energy perspective, energy is related to different fields. So in your case that you want to have a approach for urban design and urban development, energy is a critical source. So I believe that if you make your concentration in energy, and as well you can have a certificate in transportation, because they are very close related, because transportation is one of the biggest polluters worldwide. So, and they have the highest emission of CO2. So that's something that you can take in account, and you can also, and Kelly can tell you a little bit more of this. You can have also a lead certification that will help you for developing a better strategies for cities and buildings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. Yes,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you for touching on the certifications. I just wanted to briefly mention that in our college, we do offer professional certifications for our students who are interested. And one of the basic certifications is Lead Green Associate, which we offered this spring. And I know Raphael was a student. And we also offered Envision certification for this spring. And so our students have that opportunity to not only sign up for the workshops, but also to take the exams. And the goal in our professional development program is for our students to have these certifications prior to graduation, because it also assists our students in being highly qualified job applicants. So many of the positions you'll see in the environmental field will have a requirement for some type of certification. Most generally, LEED GA is your starting certification. Okay. So do we have questions? I see. Yes, Dr. Culhane.
Comment just for Vincent. Your interest in biomimicry dovetails really nicely, not just with the Envision certification that Kelly mentioned, but also a class that I teach in the fall called Envisioning Sustainability. And what we're really trying to push for in the future for Patel College is a sustainable design concentration, and that's being led by Dr. Joseph Dorsey. If you talk to him about it, Nakshita did a presentation on something that both Joe and I are very involved with biomimicry, which is the work of Neri Oxman at MIT. If you look at Neri Oxman's lab, or there's even a Netflix special on that Akshita presented on in class. Maybe you can talk about it in a second, Akshita, but Neri Oxman's work is all about that. And to do a design lab at Patel, like she has created at MIT so successfully, we think would bridge that gap, because a lot of students want that. And in the Envisioning Sustainability class, you get a chance to develop the design skills that help you to envision a better future. Marco is in that as well, and working with VR and AR capabilities. And then that's really, Akshita can speak to the Neri Oxman tie-in. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a series on Netflix called Abstract. I would suggest you to watch that, because her whole biography is given in that, and how well, it's all about biomimicry, and also the kind of products she makes is so organic and very sustainable in terms of zero waste and completely architectural approach. So yeah, I would recommend you to watch that series.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Culhane, and thank you, Akshita, for explaining that a little bit more. Vince, do you have a follow-up question?
No, I just think someone asked in the chat if we don't come from a strong sustainability background. Like in her example, her bachelor's was international affair. Would that hinder the application process to the book?
Oh, thanks, Vince. Yes, I see Claudia. Claudia, would you like to say a few remarks or ask a question?
Yeah, hi, thank you so much. I'm Claudia, and I'm thinking sustainability has always been something that I've been passionate about, but my BA was more international affairs focused, and I'm looking to dive deeper into sustainability. So I was wondering if that would be um, sort of a hindrance when applying, if you need to have like a lot of experience in the field.
I see Madeline is nodding her head no. Would you like to comment, Madeline?
I got my undergrad in environmental policy, so sustainability has been ingrained, but I've come across so many people in this program that have varying backgrounds of all different kinds. So it's definitely not a hindrance. If anything, it's very helpful because we rely on each other to brainstorm, and we're all in this together. So as many backgrounds as possible will make a better future.
Thank
I
you,
can also
Madeline.
speak to that as somebody who's on the admissions committee and admits students into the climate concentration. And this is almost across the board for all of us on the faculty. When we look to admit a student, we really are looking to build that tribe, that team that I spoke of earlier, because we do take very seriously the challenges and threats that we have to, your generation in particular, has to turn around. And so we look at the mission statements, we look at the statement of purpose, we look at the letters of recommendation, we look at the overall trope that the student is who's applying is suggesting for their career trajectory, and we think, are you going to be happy as a sustainabilitist? Because as Marco was pointing out, there are headaches. There are real headaches.
If I may add
Yeah, go ahead.
something, Professor TH, I'm a perfect example. As you can see, I'm everything but traditional student, you know. So I jump into this because I dearly, dearly cared about my project over here, because I was always thinking I'm doing something good. My background, my bachelor's degree is business management, totally different. I'm a US Navy retiree, so a bunch of other things that I did in my life. So I end up in the classes as a person who never had social networks or anything like that. Pretty much I'm dead. So, you know, Professor TH is over there, and one day, you know, in his beautiful world of no grading system, which I'm like this, you know, like, oh my God, I'm failing this. I'm ashamed of myself. I have like 17% in the class. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any right to say anything about this subject anymore. So I'm making a video out of my mind, like, sorry, professor, I'm not a quitter. I need to quit. This is ridiculous. I don't deserve to be here, this and that. And then professor is calling me like, dude, are you insane? What's going on with you? No, it's totally opposite. So what I'm trying to say, no matter what your background is, where you want to go in the future, what you want to accomplish, Patel College is perfect place for you. I'm telling you, I have a lot of experience, life experience, work experience, and everything. I never ever had a privilege to work with a bunch of people like at Patel College, both students, fellow classmates, and professor, who dearly actually helped me to achieve my goals, to learn stuff. And when you're going to different let's say to different areas, like you can learn about business side of sustainability, then this part of sustainability, that part, tourism, perfect place to be. So I highly recommend, and please don't worry what is your background. They will grab you, like we will all grab you as a part of the tribe, and you will be safe, you know. Just don't worry about it.
Thank you,
Thank
Marco.
you.
I see Raphael has his hand up.
Yes, I want to share my experience as well. I've been involved mostly in the private sector with basically related to finance, business, management. And let me tell you that, and I've been involved with EPC contracts with government as well. So when I choose to take this master's degree, it was a total change of my mindset, because I was mostly, like most businessmen, related to profits and cash flow and everything related to business and business growth. And this changed my perspective. Everything changes, because now I have a holistic approach of how the businesses must perform in the next coming years. And now that's why my approach is making sustainable investments and ESG reports for companies. So I just been admitted to to make an internship with a company that is Green Business Bureau, that is helping businesses to make their goals, to reach their sustainable goals, and to help them to have a more positive impact in the community and in the people, because we are a tribe as well. I agree, and we need to help not only our community but also the world.
Thank you, Raphael. And Akshita had a comment as well.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that I'm taking a completely different background, learning about sustainability, the Nexus approach, and going back to my field, paving my way through it. So it is going to definitely change the business sector, and we need sustainability in all sectors. And it's somewhere been lost in during the business and everything. So now we need to take it back, all the teachings back wherever we started from.
Thank you so much. Do we have another student question? Parul, your hand is up. Would you like to ask a follow-up question? Okay.
Yes, hi.
Yes.
I worked in India at home with this NGO called AGAP. We're essentially trying to ban plastic in the city. So my question is, how much of policy may to work with big conglomerates that are responsible for essentially creating the raw material that then goes to, polymers, then that goes to making plastic?
Parul, it sounded like your question got cut off a little bit in the middle. After policy, could you share what you said?
Yes, I have glitchy internet. So my question was, how does policy come into effect when dealing with big conglomerates? Companies that are essentially responsible for creating the raw material as basic as polymer that then goes on to building plastic products and polythene bags that end up polluting our seas. So my question was like, how effective is it, to work with non-government organizations versus, say, directly with the government, affecting policy?
I can certainly take a stab at answering that if you like. So a good example of how the policy world and the corporate world and the community interact is epitomized by a trip that we took in the Waste Not Want Not class this semester to the, well, my son is making noise, to the waste management, what are they called? The MRF, Materials Repurposing Facility, which is this recycling facility in St. Pete that takes garbage from Hillsborough County and everywhere. And on the tour, they pointed out that while the Lowry Park Zoo has a strong mandate for recycling and has spent a lot of money putting recycling bins all over the park zoo and put a lot of money into public outreach, has worked with government officials so that the policy is enforced at the zoo. When we got to the recycling facility, 100% of what the Lowry Park Zoo had collected from their thousands of patrons every day was thrown into the landfill bin and taken and destroyed in a landfill. And we asked why, and they said because somebody didn't get the memo that the recycling bin should never be lined with plastic bags. The recycling bin should be a rigid plastic container that all the recyclables go into, and then our truck comes and we dump it into the truck, and it comes and gets dumped on the conveyor belt, and then our team sorts it. But if they see a plastic bag, it goes into the reject pile. And that is a terrible example of how there was some miscommunication because of a received wisdom that is in our culture. American culture has this thing about if you've got a garbage bin, which is made of plastic, you should then line it with plastic, which makes no sense. And we even do it at the Patel College. So that can show you just how bad things are, because we don't talk to one another. Like the janitorial staff rarely is talked to with any kind of frequency by the administration, the faculty, the students. It's as if there's different worlds. And we confront that in our classes and talk about how we've got to stop boxing off government as this one world and policymakers, and then you've got the ivory tower PhDs, and then you've got the student acolytes, the Padawans and the Jedi Knights. I mean, there's so much division. And yet, as Marco can tell you, when he's sitting down, or he brought us, me and Dr. Brooke Hansen, to the table with government officials, they're just human beings like you and I. And if our conversations are about what entertainment we're doing or what sports, that's one thing. But if you have the opportunity to talk about, hey, does your janitorial staff know not to put a plastic bag into the recycling bin? That can make a world of difference. And so part of what we're trying to do at Patel College is to, and our dean has been very good at creating this atmosphere, is to stop separating us by role. It's the same thing you're asking about if I have this background or that background. At this point, just like in the military, there are ranks based on experience, but when the job needs to get done, when there's a mission, you step up and you transcend whatever your training is, because you might be the only person in the field of combat who knows how to get communications out, for example. So when you consider it all hands on deck, that's what sustainability training really gives you. And these same policies that you're talking about, yes, it is up to companies not to produce these polymers, but they'll say, but the consumer wants them. And if I produce a product that doesn't satisfy current consumer expectations, I go out of business. And we realize everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else saying, look, I'd love to be sustainable, but these guys aren't doing their job. And these guys aren't doing their job. And so we say, well, let's stop breaking it down by job description and say, hey, citizens, each of us has to inform one another about what best sustainable practices are.
Thank you, Dr. Culhane. So we're running out of time, so I did want to open up for any final questions from our students for our distinguished panelists. Are there any other questions? Everyone's good. Okay. Panelists, any final comments for our session? Tessa?
Sure, I'm happy to share. First of all, the Patel College was a great experience for me, and I think that in hindsight, I would have even liked to take even more advantage of the connections and the relationships and the things that Patel offered. I think at the time I just didn't realize how much was available. So that would be my advice. And then also just on a personal touch, I would be happy as students are considering applying for other positions or want some advice or have any questions, I'd be happy to chat with you. So I can put my email in the chat box, but would be happy to hear from you and talk with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tessa. Marco, any final comments for our students?
Well, enjoy the ride. You're in right place, in right hands, and sky is the limit. Do your best and chase your dreams.
Thank you. Madeline, any comments?
Yeah, I want to just go off of what they said. Like, this was an amazing opportunity that I'm glad that I was able to experience. I've learned more than I ever thought I would, and I'm excited to be an alumni now and guide other sustainabilists on their journeys. And if you have any questions, yeah, I can drop my email as well, and feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Akshita, do you have any final comments?
Yeah, PCGS is really like an ocean of knowledge. Faculty is really supportive, helping you all throughout. A lot of technical knowledge and field work. So grab as much as you can when you're here. A lot of opportunities. So just enjoy the ride. It is a wonderful ride. And yeah, I'll also leave my email below if you guys have any further questions.
Thank you. And Raphael, any final comments?
Yes. So sustainability masters is like gathering information and knowledge from different fields. So actually, you're going to enjoy. It's a journey. It's a journey through sustainability, and you're going to enjoy the ride. And I will also post my email if anyone has any questions and want to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and a special heartfelt thank you to our panelists for today and our students who joined us. And thank you, Dr. Culhane, for joining us as well. Everyone have a great day.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists.
Bye.